Hi, everybody. This is Erica from In the Company of Cards. If you're new, welcome. If you've been here before, welcome back. As those of you who've been here before know, this is a channel where I use the Lenormand system of card reading to look at the issues of the day. Before I start, I tend to just sort of zoom right into whatever I want to talk about, but I do want to thank you for all of the likes, the shares, the hypes, the comments. I really appreciate all of that. I read everything that you write to me. Um, I'm going to answer one question. It was a viewer question that was sent to me in an email. And the question was, um, you're so smart. Like, why do you bother to um, address trolls or negative comments, etc.? Well, I mean, whether I'm smart or not, and appreciate that, thank you. I'm a teacher at heart. That's what I do. I'm a teacher. So when I bring up um, behavior that I think is less than optimal for the space, I hope that it will be in a way that uh, makes us wiser and kinder than maybe we started out being. That's the whole reason that I do it. I don't do it all the time, but that's because I don't get many negative comments. Um, so, it's not about whether I'm smart or not smart or what it's about. I feel like sometimes people don't realize sometimes how they sound. And when you know better, you do better. That's not always the case, but that's always the hope, right? So that's why occasionally I will, and sometimes the comments are funny. So and I bring them up because I hope you'll find them funny too. So that's why I do that. But thank you for your concern. I want to remind everybody that next Thursday, which will be the 18th, I will be doing free readings. It'll be alive. Everybody can watch. I'll give precedence to those people who are channel members. You can hit the join button. There's only one price, but you don't have to join if you don't want to. But I will give precedence, yeah, to those people who are members. And if there's time, I'll address other people's questions. So these are your personal questions about your own lives, right? And I'm doing it to as a sort of a gift to you all for your many kindnesses to me, but also to show you how Lenormand can function in people's real lives by answering questions that we have. So I'll be doing probably 3 to 5 card readings on a given question because there will probably be tons of people who would like readings. Again, if you're not a member, come anyway, because, I'm going to do it twice that day, twice on the 18th. I'm going to do it at 1 p.m. Pacific, and I'm also going to do it again at 5 p.m. Pacific. I will get to as many people as I can, again, giving precedence to those people who are members, but that doesn't mean that if you're not a member, your question won't be answered. Just, take your chances, come on in and ask your question, and if I can, I'll answer it. Bearing in mind, I hope that you remember I'm not a doctor, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a financial advisor. For whatever reason, people still ask questions about health and money and uh, legal stuff. But anyway, I just want to put that caveat out there. I am none of those things, but the cards are wise and want to be helpful, as do I. And so that will be next Thursday, the 18th, and it will be alive. Okay. These questions, as always, are in no particular order. So here we go. I've got a page worth of questions. I may not get to all of them. I'll answer as many as I feel called to, and then we'll pick it up another time. I don't know if you've noticed the orbs flying around, but I saw them before I started, and they're still flying around now, which I love. I think that's Spirit's way of saying, Oh, good. You're going to do another reading. Okay. So the first thing that I wanted to look at, we've had this Epstein estate photo dump. Uh, it's a not a, it's a dump by the committee, but it's the photos come from the Epstein estate. There are apparently, you know, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and thousands, maybe even more photographs than the ones that were dumped. We didn't really learn much from them. Apparently, according to the committee members, there are a lot of them that are way more disturbing and salacious than the ones that were dropped. But you can, if you go to look at what's his name? Aaron Parnas, Parnas. He's very good. Lev Parnas's son. He's just been named, 30 under 30, important people to watch. And he does great work and he has all the photographs there, but you can find them a lot of places online. um, so the question that I want to ask, and again, it's nothing that we didn't know. We have seen, read the names of Bill Clinton and Steve Bannon and Woody Allen and Alan Dershowitz and um, Larry Summers from Harvard. Uh, we've heard all these names before, and now we see photographs of them with Epstein. So it's nothing new, but what I want to know is not so much the photos that we were shown today. I think there were like 12 or 14 of them today. But overall, will these photographs, all of them, will they move the needle? How will they move the needle in terms of how people feel about the felon? Um, so let's see, what do I want to use for the photographs? Hmm. I think I'll let Spirit pick them all. How will, if at all, these photographs move the needle? In other words, will there be people in MAGA world who say, "Oh my God, I had no idea." Um, you know, will it hurt him? Will it help him? What will these photographs do? Okay. So, again, I mean, I was laughing, but there really are people who are just, they have been die-hard felon fans. And a lot of them, as you recall, uh, one of the reasons that they said they were pro-felon is that he was going to uncover this whole Epstein thing, which of course he has not done. But they carried a torch and they had hopes for that. But what do they say? A picture speaks a thousand words. The cards are the cross, the ring, clouds, clover, and sun. So, you know, I've told you this before that traditionalists say if the cross is the first card, you already know the answer. Well, I kind of already do know the answer. So, I mean, okay, I'm not gonna redraw. This is the card for pain. This will cause pain for the felon and the people who have been committed to him. The ring is the card for commitment. They feel pain. In the center, we have clouds. So they feel pain and now they feel doubts. And you know what? They're going to feel more doubt once the healthcare thing changes in January and they lose their Obamacare and everybody's premiums go up. But we're not right now. We're talking just about these photographs. It will cast doubt on him. Again, a picture speaks 1,000 words, and 1,000 pictures speak 1,000 words. I think that quick, fast, and in a hurry, this is clover. And I know that, here in the States and in Ireland, clover is lucky, but sometimes it's not. Sometimes the clover just refers to speed. And I think quick, fast, and in a hurry, people will see who he really is. I can mirror the cross with that. This will be a painful realization, sunburn painful. There will be no denying that he is who the rest of us have known that he is. So, yeah, they will make a difference. Now, um, I had another question related to uh, the photographs, which is that next week, the day after my live is on the 18th, Thursday. Friday, the 19th, is the deadline that the courts have given the felon and the DOJ, it's really the DOJ, to release the Kraken, release everything. Um, if they don't do it, it's not just about um, being held in contempt of Congress. They have to give everything to Congress. It will be a criminal matter because the release was signed into law, right, through a bill, which, as you recall, the felon signed, which means that if the DOJ drags its feet, and if that material is not all the way forthcoming out, not just forthcoming, if that material is not released, all of it to Congress by the 19th, heads will roll. Criminal charges can be filed. So I guess what I want to know is what will happen with these files on the 19th? I'm going to use the letter for the files, even though we know that the files are, they comprise a lot of stuff, right? Paper, sure. Cassettes, probably. Uh, Tapes, uh, all kinds of things. If those are not released to the Congress on the 19th, as they are required to be by law, signed by the felon, what will happen? So I guess before I ask what will happen, I'll ask, will they release them? And so we'll use the letter, and that will stand for, the totality of the Epstein files, all of the information. So we're looking for the letter. Okay, this stands for the Epstein files. Okay, so we have the fish, the moon, the letter, the stork, and the fox. By the way, I am using the Merry, Merry, Belle, Belle, Lenormand, which you can find on Etsy. Just to sort of cheer us up a little for this season. I will go back to my own deck in January. Um, Interesting. And then I pulled some clarifiers on just a couple of the cards. So, you know, first of all, there's tons of material. This is fish, and fish is a card for, among other things, plenty. There are a lot of fish in this sea. So there's tons and tons and tons of material. Material that will have an effect on people's reputation. because the moon is that. The letters in the center. We have the stork as our fourth card, and then we have the fox. So, you know, I know that one of the, well, hold on. Let me talk about these clarifiers. This is the files, right? I drew clarifiers on them. We have the book, the dog, and the tree. This is really important. So these are the Epstein files. One of the reasons that the felon, despite his talk and his campaign promise, really does not want the files out. The book is the card for secrets, things that are not known, things that are hidden. Why? We have heard why out of his mouth. He said he didn't want them out because a lot of, quote, a lot of good people will be hurt. Well, what good people would those be? He's talking about his male friends. That's what he's talking about. Here's his friends. So he, out of loyalty to his friends, plus he doesn't want his friends mad at him, does, would have loved to have kept these things hidden and has been able to do it for quite some considerable time. The tree is a long time. Now, I'm going to pull on the stork. I didn't before, but I'm going to pull on the stork. Yeah. So the stork is the card for positive change, which I thought was a little interesting. And the clarifiers here are the anchor, the woman, and the child. So one of the things that they're going to do is they're going to say, like, in other words, I think they will turn everything over, but it will be so heavily redacted as to be unhelpful. Now, you've seen redacted documents, right? It's like a piece of paper, and you think you're going to read everything there is to read, but then everything is blacked out except for the words, and because and for, right? That's what will happen. These documents will be very, very heavily redacted. Remember, though, there are going to be photographs as well, and I'll get to that in a second. But um, what they will do, they think they've found a way out by doing this. This will make it better for them to redact them. And they will slow things down because, of course, the Congress will say, well, I mean, this is not helping us because everything is redacted. But this is the felon's MO, right? Is to just throw an anchor into the situation to slow everything down. And the reason that will be given for slowing it down, oh, sorry, we had to redact everything. I guess now we'll have to go back and decide again what we can show you and what we can't show you, because what we don't want to do is harm the women who were children when this happened. So it is just, I mean, it's the most cynical thing in the world. He doesn't care about those women. None of the Republicans care about those women. Not really. But that's the excuse that they'll give. So they'll hand over everything. It'll be so heavily redacted as to be unusable by the committee. The committee will say, what is this? This is not helpful. The court will say, what is this? This is not helpful. And the Trump lawyers will say, well, we're trying to protect the innocent women. That's not it at all. Now, what's interesting is this last card is the fox. They think the felons people think that they're being clever by coming up with this excuse for why everything is so heavily redacted. But as Ro Khanna said today, he's on the committee, he said, you know, what the DOJ will turn over, first of all, is only some of what exists. They may turn over everything that they have, but it will still be only some of what exists because, frankly, what exists is uh, owned by the Epstein estate, which has turned it over to us. So whatever you think, felon, that you're hiding from the committee's already seen it. We've already seen how bad it is. We know. We've seen it. So you're playing a game that you're not going to win. Not to mention, there are other entities in the world, and I say world advisedly. There are nation states, Russia, Israel. I'll throw in Saudi Arabia, Qatar. There are countries that have this information. So you may want to redact it, DOJ, but we will see the difference between what you give us and what we can get elsewhere. And if it looks like you have been intentionally not forthcoming in the ways that you should be, there'll be a problem. So, in other words, I feel like the felon and his team and the DOJ will be checkmated by the committee, who will have seen everything, everything. Clarifiers are, did I have another clarifier that get dropped? Oh no. Uh, okay. Birds, crossroads. Did I? Hold on. One, two, three, one, two, three. You looked at, oh yeah, here it is. I did drop one. Okay. Birds, crossroads, and whip. So what does that mean? It means that the committee, there's a law in place signed by the president that says that this stuff has to be delivered by next Friday. So this is the committee. Uh, Birds. This to me feels like uh, the committee. This is the committee being clever and saying, we've seen everything. So we just want to make sure that whatever you show us matches up with what we've seen from the Epstein estate and other places. So these cards both stand for the committee looking at this issue. And it will look like the felon and his people, his DOJ, tried to be too clever by half. And that will be punished. Now, because the whip is the card for punishment. Uh, Now, the thing is that the card that I can mirror this with is the very first card I pulled, which is the fish, or the very first card in the line, which is fish. I mean, it makes me feel like, what are they going to fine the DOJ? They could. Or they could fine the individuals responsible in the DOJ. Like they could fine Pam Bondi, because this is money. I'm not seeing any indication that anybody will be jailed, but there will be some cost to pay if they don't come clean, and I don't think they'll come clean. And I think what they will do is use the excuse, like they'll turn it all over. But if you get a whole trove full of documents that you can't read because everything's been blacked out, erased, mm, are you are you obeying the letter of the law? So this will get very interesting. And we should know pretty soon next week, or maybe the week after, whether the committee will find that they have appropriately complied with the law, which says December 19th, everything has to be turned over. I suspect again that they will try to pull a fast one, that they will be caught because the committee's already on to them. The committee's already seen whatever they're going to give them plus, and they will be shown to be having acted in bad faith, the DOJ. Okay. Um, Here's another one. So there's a thing called the International Criminal Court, the ICC for short. And we are not a member nation of the ICC. Go figure. But a lot of countries are. You may have heard that the felon announced to the ICC that they had better not um, indict him for any war crime or anything, because if they do, he will sanction them. Okay, first of all, let me repeat, we are not member nations of the ICC. So why would we think, well, not we, why would the felon think that he can amend their rules as to who they can and can't indict? What? Now, to me, the only reason that he's coming out and saying that is that he knows he is indictable. So I want to see, will the ICC indict the felon on war crimes? And God knows there's certainly plenty of war crimes that he could be indicted for, right? I mean, do I need to enumerate? So, is the ICC, do they have an indictment drawn up for the felon? Drawn up and ready to go. Um, let's use the birds for the committee, the ICC. No, you know what? Let's use the tower. It's the International Criminal Court. I mean, it's no joke. So we're going to give it the gravitas of the tower card. Okay, so that's what I'm going to use. I mean, the nerve that he thinks he can order them around. All right, let's see what we get. Oh, popped right up. So this stands for the International Criminal Court. Two cards to the left, two cards to the right. Okay. I just want to see um, who the head of the ICC is. I think I know, but I just want to look. Uh, well, interesting. Uh, hold on. Mm, Vice Presidents Rosario. Da, da, da. I, you know, okay, that's what I thought. Hold on. I knew it. I'm like, it's a woman. Okay, and her name is Tomoko Akane. Tomoko Akane from Japan. Okay, makes sense. All right. So we have the letter, the man, the tower, which stands for the ICC, the child, and the book. So This indictment has already been drawn up. I can mirror it with the last card. Secretly. The book is about secrets. So an indictment against the felon has already been drawn up by the ICC. Indictment against the felon. This stands for the felon. Um, Now I can mirror the felon with the fourth card. So here's the felon, the second card. I can mirror this with the fourth card. I like that for him because he thinks he's so big and bad that he's gonna threaten the ICC, but they will be cutting him down to size, child card, with this indictment. So I pulled cards on the tower, the child, and the book. So on the tower, which is the ICC, the International Criminal Court, I got Clover, Crossroads, and Key. So it has been quite recently, Clover, remember, that they made a decision, a choice to yes, indict him. We see the key, and that's a yes. Child card, clarifiers, the woman, the anchor, the house. He will be cut down to size. This was what made me look up who was the head of the ICC because I knew it was a woman. And when the woman card popped up, I'm like, it's got to be a woman. So let me check. And in fact, it is a woman from Japan, um, who will really bring him to heel. You know, the anchor is kind of like if you're a balloon and God knows the felon is full of hot air, ask anybody who stands behind him. Um, the anchor will bring you right back down to size. And that's what's going to happen. We have the book. Again, this is secret. They have, in a sense that they have not announced the indictment yet. Secret. And they're delaying it. That's the mountain. And then we have the dog and the fish. So I just feel like, this is getting all the countries on board and ready for everything, all of the allied countries of the ICC to get on board and all their ducks in a row. And fish, fish is about emotion here, but it's also about money. And we've just heard the felon say, don't indict me or else I will sanction you, which means if you indict me, I will put more tariffs on your countries or whatever. I can mirror this fish card with the indictment. So it's just they're getting all of their ducks in a row, which is why the delay. These are all the nation states that are members of the ICC because, of course, they know that the felon is going to have a response that will be vindictive. So they are preparing for that so that they're ready for that. So yes, he will be indicted by the International Criminal Court. That's hardly the Nobel Peace Prize. I'm just saying. Oh, good. All right, let's see what else. Um, I mean, at the risk of wading into the middle of something, I am going to wade into the middle of something because I already waded into the middle of it, which is this Jasmine Crockett situation. So, um, again, I think she's terrific. I love her. Every time she schools somebody, I am just in the front row. I'm here for it. I love it. However, I am not ride or die for anybody who doesn't give me cause to be ride or die for them, right? What does that mean? It means that um, I have looked at her voting record on Israel, and she is. Listen, does Israel have a right to exist? 100%, absolutely. Israel has the right to exist. They do. So does Palestine. Now, in her voting record, she has tried hard to vote for bills, only bills that, if they're going to give money to Israel, they have to give money in equal measure to the Palestinian cause. That's fair. But there have been other bills where the Palestinian cause has not been a thing, and she's a supporter of Israel. Now, again, I am a supporter of Israel's right to exist, but I'm not a supporter of Israel's right to be genocidal. I mean, is that fair? I think that's fair. So I heard out of her mouth today, she was asked about this. It's created a whole big thing. And in some ways, it has divided along racial lines, as these things can, where people are saying things like, uh, well, why aren't you criticizing white politicians for their stance on Israel? I mean, they're not saying this to me, but you're hearing this. Why is she being held to a standard that you wouldn't hold anybody else to? I would hope that we would hold everybody to that standard. That Palestine has a right to exist, that Israel does too, but that Israel does not have the right to be genocidal. I mean, that seems reasonable to me. Um, so her response was, anybody who's questioning me about this, um, people are saying, well, it's because she's black that people are criticizing her. I'm black, and I would like to hear a fuller throated um, response about how she feels about Israel in relation to its conduct vis-a-vis Palestine. That's all. I would like to hear her say something about that. So what she said was, anybody who's talking about me in relation to this, and they haven't read my record, they're lazy. Excuse me, what? She's good at the ad hominem attacks. And I will say, maybe that's what Texas likes. And I mean, I guess maybe there's a place for it. Listen, I love it when she comes for people. But you if this was just a Texas thing, she could say, Erica, mind your business. And I probably would. But here's the thing. Why are you asking me for money? Why are you in my texts and my email asking me? I live in Southern California. Why are you asking me for money? I've given you money before. That's probably why you're asking for it. But then don't I have a right to ask you to discuss in a full-throated, once and for all way how you feel about Israel's policy in regard to Palestine? Like, we're not allowed to criticize Israel? So, what I would like to know is, will, well, look, I know it's going to affect her funding outside of Texas because inquiring minds want to know. So she doesn't have to say, but if she wants our money, she does. I mean, I think this is holding her to a standard that I'd hold any politician who asks me for my money. If she weren't asking for my money, then Texas, do you? But she is asking for my money. So, what I would like to know is, will she come out with a statement that is more than an ad hominem attack against those people who are questioning her? Just wanting answers. I sound like Candace Owens. I just want answers. And anyway, um, I guess how will this? No, let's say she stays with her stance, like the one that she had today, which is my record is my record. Go look it up. If you don't look it up, you're lazy. If you look it up and you don't like it, you're lazy. How's that going to affect her money, her fundraising? So we're going to use fish for that. And the fish are standing for Jasmine Crockett's funding efforts um, in relation to how she has handled this question of Israel. I mean, I would say the same about a lot of people. Schumer, Jeffries, uh, Cory Booker, and any other person, you know? Okay, so I'm looking for fish. If you want my money, tell me something. Okay, so this is her funding. Okay, so we have the ship, we have the garden, we have Jasmine Crockett's funding for her senatorial um, primary campaign. We have the bouquet, and we have the star. If you've been with me a while, you already know before I say anything, these are really good cards. So here things are, the campaign sales ahead. This is the public, and we have the fish in the middle. I can mirror this card for the public, the garden, with the bouquet. She will get good funding. And here's the ship, and I can mirror that with the star. Star is a great card. It's a very auspicious card. So I don't know. Maybe I'm the only one who feels this way. I don't know. But what I did was I pulled clarifiers on the fish, the money. We have the sun, the moon, and the coffin. This tells me that in order to get the kind of money that she wants, because frankly, I've gotten a couple of emails that say, well, we're not going to meet our goals for the month or the week or whatever it is. Well, why would that be, Jasmine? This is the money. She will, in fact, come out with more than that ad hominem statement, making very clear what her position is. The coffin is the card for transformation. She will realize that votes or money, money, um, will only come to her in these great amounts if she changes her don't talk about it stance on this. This is the card for transformation. She is going to have to be way more full-throated. The sun is clarity. She's got to shed light on her position, the moon, her position on Israel. People just want to hear the words. They just want to hear the words. I think she will be shown that by her advisors, and I think that she will do that. She will see the wisdom in that, and she will be rewarded financially. I mean, again, I'll open my wallet once I hear what I need to hear. Um, I'm not lazy, so I don't know who she was talking about, but it wasn't me. And I'm going to hazard a guess and say it wasn't a lot of people who said, hmm. And I think here's what I think is sloppy. I'm not going to say lazy, but I think it's sloppy to say, well, why are you coming for the black woman? Why don't you ask the white politicians this question? I would ask white politicians this question. I absolutely would want to know what their stance is. So, why are you assuming that those who have questions would only have questions for her? Uh-uh. Doesn't pass the smell test. But the good news is she will realize the error of her ways, that maybe she can tell herself this. People aren't that bright, and they need everything spelled out for them. So spell out for us what your stance is, and then we can open our wallets and be happy about it. I would love to support her. Okay. I mean, it's kind of like Newsom. He's done a lot of great things. I love the way he's trolled the felon, but there's certain stances that he has that make me say, wait a minute. Like, for example, taxing billionaires to pay for health care. He's not for that. Wait a minute, you're not for that? Why? Why? So I mean, I'm not going to give my money to him until I hear what he has to say about that. Why is he? Why is that? You want my money? Why don't you ask the billionaires for the money? Because I have to pay my health insurance. So, what's good for the gander, the goose is good for the gander. I think we have a right as citizens to ask these questions if they want our money and if they want our votes. Okay. Um, I I had a couple of people tell me that they didn't want me to talk about the royal family, but okay. I've registered the what you don't want, but this is my channel. And so what you can do is skip this part. Uh, King Charles announced today that in the new year, his cancer treatment would be reduced. Now, what he seemed to be attributing that to is, as he said, the wonderful advances in, medical science and in early detection, the benefits of early detection. Okay. But we have also all heard for ages now, right, that he had declined conventional treatment in favor of all natural holistic treatment. So I don't know what treatment he's got, but all I know for a fact is that he said his treatment was going to be reduced. And he said that's thanks to the miracle of modern medicine and early, um, early, identification, whatever the word is. Um, so I guess I just want to see how he's doing. And I feel like I looked at this last week, and so I just want to know because people stop treatment, A, because the treatment's working and they're better, or B, because it's not and they're not, right? I mean, isn't that right? So I just want to know how's he doing? How's he doing? So I'm going to use the tree, and that will stand for King Charles's health. So we're looking for the tree. Up, right up. Okay, that's King Charles's health. Well, we have the key, the bear, the tree, the tower, and the moon. I like the key. It's making me think that whatever treatment he had, conventional or otherwise, did him some good. I can mirror this key with the moon, sort of his identity and how he's feeling. I mean, of course, I'll just say this. At the very least, we know that that's the impression that he wants to give. I'm good. I'm fine. Everything's great. Um, we have the second card, which is the bear, and I can mirror that with the tower. Now, this is interesting to me. So he wants us to think that he's feeling better and whatever treatment he had has worked. he also wants to be seen as strong, as the head of the realm, the king. Uh, you know, that, if you're doing a death watch and, you know, measuring William for his crown, don't do that because I'm still the boss. I am still in charge. I am the king of my castle, which feels very PR like. And I'm hoping that it could be PR, it could be spin, but I'm hoping that it's also true that he's feeling better. The cards indicate that he is. So this is the card for his health, and I pulled some clarifiers on that. Birds, fish, and child. I think he's got a good team. How could he not? He's the king of England. So he's got a very good team around him. I think he's feeling very emotional and as though he's got a new lease on life. So that's what we're going to go with. That's what we're going to go with. That whatever treatment he's done has worked and that he's feeling well. But equally, the message he wants to convey is I'm good, I'm fine, everything's great. And by the way, I'm still the king and will be for the foreseeable future. So there we go. I think I'll leave it there. I had a couple more, but maybe I'll come on tomorrow and do those two and then add some others to it. I do have a guest coming on Sunday, so I hope you'll tune in for that. I know my Sunday views don't get as many views as these kinds of videos, and that's fine because I know that the people who watch the Sunday videos appreciate them. And if you're new, I invite you to go back and look at what I call my Sunday conversations, where I invite people who are important to me or people whom I feel like we could really benefit from hearing from on my channel. And it's just a conversation. There are no cards involved. It's just a talk. And it's a nice break for me to have company and have a dialogue. And so that's what I do on Sundays. All right. At any rate, I'll probably come back and do a little bit tomorrow, a few more questions. This is a very busy time. It's not just the holidays. It's, the events of the nation and the world do not take a break for the holidays, clearly. And this is a busy week. It'll be a very busy week next week as well. Again, put on your calendars the 18th of December. That's Thursday, 1 p.m. and 5 p.m. Pacific time. And that's when I'm doing free readings. So it'll be live, open to everybody. So have your questions ready. And it's first come, first serve, 3 to 5 cards per reading. And, I've done it a few times before. People really enjoy it. And so this is my holiday gift to you all. All right, everybody. I'll see you probably tomorrow. Take care.